Hey, you. Yeah, you. Are you data-driven? Sure you are. 'Cause you're the silo-busting, business-growing, question-asking, control-taking, fast-moving, IT-transforming, lover of all things digital. You're hybrid multi-cloud and wowing the crowd. DaaS, PaaS, SaaS, you love every stack. You've awakened the data visionary within, and you have the guts to turn your vision into reality. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The dreamer, the debater, the decider, the deployer, the doer. Your tribe is here, and the time is now to be data-driven. Please welcome NetApp Chief Executive Officer, George Kurian.
Good morning. Welcome to Insight. Thank you to all of you for joining us here at this event. We have an awesome agenda to help you accelerate your business success using data and how each of us can make a difference. I want to begin by thanking all of our sponsors for your participation, for your support, and for the work we do beyond Insight in the market together. I also want to thank everyone who was involved in putting together this event. We are so excited to share more with you this week. Digital transformation is a top business priority among all of our customers, not only for the financial impact, revenue growth, and operating improvements, but because it enables our customers to create extraordinarily new digitized customer experiences and new business models. Data is the digital business. Data is the fuel for digital transformation. Software is the engine that makes sense of the data to drive digital transformation. It's no wonder then that the market leaders are data-driven. Just think about Netflix and Uber, for example. This slide shows that in 2006, just one of the top 10 companies in the world by market capitalization was a data-driven digital company. In 2011, 4 were, and in 2017, 6 of the top 10 companies in the world are data-driven digital companies. What's equally interesting is the fact that only one company made it across the entire decade, and only 2 companies have succeeded over the last 6 years. And why is that? It's because the speed of change and disruption in the digital world is extraordinary. So what do you do if you're born not digital? If you're a traditional company that doesn't have the opportunity to have been born digital, it will require you to undertake a fundamental change, a transformation to capture the benefits of a born digital company. These changes start with being data-driven. That is, using your data to make profound and fundamental changes to your business. And particularly for incumbents who are not born digital, your data, your knowledge of your customers, of your partners, and of your business is your single most important strategic advantage. Just think about it. Everyone would love to have your data, and using it for competitive advantage is what we will tell you more about at Insight. It is therefore that data-driven companies clearly outperform in succeeding in digital transformation, 3 times greater increased profitability, and 6 times improved operational efficiency. This is based on research that NetApp and IDC have conducted together over the last 2 years. So now, let's talk about what it takes to become data-driven. To become data-driven, you require transformation across strategy, people, process, and technology, using an approach that's agile and focused on business results. It requires you to start with having a clearly articulated digital strategy to identify the biggest opportunities where you can use a digital business model to change the game, and to have the data that you need to support and enable that business model to be available to that digital organization. From a people and process standpoint, you need to break down the business and its associated functional silos, which fragment your business and fragment your data, and replace that with agile integrated teams and a business process that is about testing, learning, and adapting quickly. And finally, technology. We'll tell you more about that in just a moment. We have 4 cornerstone principles to help you make progress in data-driven digital transformation. It starts with IT transformation. More than 80% of the customers we speak with realize that business as usual in IT will not accomplish the objectives of digital transformation. Increasingly, cloud is the new benchmark. Using public clouds, leveraging cloud design principles, and cloud technologies for more things in IT is increasingly the way that we see leaders accomplishing digital transformation. It helps them accelerate the delivery of new services, as well as increase the percentage of IT on digital innovation. The second principle, speed is the new scale. If you don't move quickly in a digital business, you can get disrupted quickly. Just think about the physical world. How many years would it take for a physical business to reach 100 million customers? Now think about Fortnite. Fortnite, the mobile game, has reached 125 million customers in less than a year since it was created. Speed is the new scale, as the Boston Consulting Group says. And simplification and focus are a way to get to speed. To support simplification and focus, customers will need to deploy a hybrid multi-cloud architecture. It simplifies and focuses what your IT department does, and it leverages the innovation on all of the world's biggest public clouds. Moreover, you can use industry-standard container and microservices technology to enable that architecture, leveraging Kubernetes with Istio as the cloud-native multi-cloud control plane. And we'll show you that today. And for the data layer, let's talk about your data. It has been fragmented across systems and business functions. Consolidation attempts into data warehouses or Hadoop data lakes don't set you up for the real-time, artificially intelligent digital business process. And there are emerging requirements of new data types, new data sources in every part of your business, and the movement from batch to real-time processing. You need to move in your thinking from data centers to data fabrics, from fragmented systems that silo your data to an integrated fabric that can simplify and integrate your business across locations, across the different types of your data and processing requirements, and across applications. Data fabrics help accelerate digital transformation by giving you a catalog of consistent data services across a choice of hybrid multi-cloud environments. And let's hear from a customer who's doing this very thing. Media and entertainment is the most digitized and data-driven of all industries. I am excited to introduce a leader in media and entertainment that is truly a data company. And what's equally important is that they use that data to bring so much joy to everyone in the world. DreamWorks is the leading creator of global quality family entertainment and the creator of beloved movies like Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon. They believe in limitless possibilities and are using digitized imagination, their data, to dream big, to help us to go anywhere and be anything we want to be. DreamWorks is data-driven. Let's roll the video.
This is Berg, son. And it's my job as chief to protect us. And one day, when you're all grown up, that job will be passed on to you. And out there, beyond the sunset, lies the home of the dragon. And I believe it's your destiny to one day find this hidden world, so that people and dragons will fight no more.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have to tell you, I'm pretty sure I work in the right place for me because I get goosebumps when I see that clip. Thank you so much for having me here today. I feel so honored and privileged to be speaking at Insight, such a vibrant, amazing conference, and getting to share with you a little bit about DreamWorks, our company, and our filmmaking processes, and why NetApp Technology Solutions are so critical to our business. It's fun to watch that clip, but it's so easy to forget what goes into it. When you look at everything on there, every drop of water, every cloud in the sky, every scale on Toothless, every hair on Hiccup's head, every single thing you saw was crafted inside a computer. Everything was given a geometric model. All the characters were given inverse kinematic skeletons and muscular deformation systems and thousands of unique control points. Our films are about 90 minutes long, about an hour and a half long. They run at 24 frames a second. That's 130,000 frames. And each one of those frames has hundreds, if not thousands, of unique digital assets, characters, props, environments, and each one of those frames goes through 12 unique creative processes so that by the time we are done making just one of our films, just one, we have crafted 500 million digital files. 500 million, 500 million digital files. And our business ambition is to release 2 films a year. They take us 4 years to make, so we can't make them one after the other. We have to have films in simultaneous production. In fact, we can often have as many as 10 films in active production. 10 films in active production at 500 million files each is 5 billion active production files being worked on in a hybrid cloud platform in which any artist can access any file on any film at any time. DreamWorks is known as storytellers. We make amazing films, but behind the scenes, under the hood, DreamWorks Animation is a digital manufacturer. You know what we make? We make data. We make lots and lots of data, 5 billion files. Here's the thing, in that world, data management, data services are critical to our business. And that's why we choose NetApp, because they are the data authority. DreamWorks Animation has used NetApp Technology Solutions on every single one of our CG films since the beginning of our studio. And NetApp Solutions are still the foundational infrastructure for our entire filmmaking pipeline. But furthermore, we believe in NetApp's trajectory, their vision for a seamless data management across on-prem and cloud infrastructures, essentially a data fabric, if you will, that'll allow us to make better business decisions. And that's what led us recently to change our relationship with NetApp, moving from very happy customer to a co-engineering partnership. And in that engineering partnership, we are building the infrastructures and data services that will allow us to provide on-demand, real-time content creation processes for our artists. We're also pursuing greater efficiencies to share workflows across multiple platforms and improving our asset preservation system for future opportunities. And we're streamlining operations to simplify and automate infrastructures in order for us to maximize production uptime. Said very simply, we trust NetApp Technology Solutions. We trust their engineering. And perhaps most importantly, we trust their people. We trust them to help us future-proof our business so that we can help enable our artists to make fantastic new worlds, like How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. Thank you all so much for having me here today. I am so excited to be here. I hope you have a fantastic insight. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate, for those warm words and for sharing your amazing company's digital assets and digital production, and for sharing your perspective on our collaboration. What are you most excited about our partnership?
Well, I think what I'm most excited about is that we're working with NetApp on our next digital transformation, the one in which we're going to create a cloud-enabled production pipeline of the future that is going to put technology in our artists' hands so that they can create films and experiences that audiences have never seen before. So excited about it. Such as How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, which I have brought a sneak peek of here today to share with everybody. I'm so excited.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you so much. I will
you.
see you at the movies. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
There were dragons when I was a boy. Where they went, only a few know. Our story changed the world forever. We did it! The world's first dragon Viking utopia.
Your utopia, maybe. Mine's less crowded and more... Oh! Sanitary.
Hey, bud, wait up! Oh my God, he's not the only one.
She's a light fury.
Oh, sorry.
Did she just disappear? Wow.
It's a hidden dragon world. Toothless, go introduce yourself.
Found my heart, broke it, here, made friends and lost them through the years.
Toothless has a girlfriend.
I've hunted every night, Fury, except yours. Hand him over.
I will never give him up.
Then I will destroy everything you love.
We are no longer safe here. We all have to disappear, completely off the map. We have to fight for their freedom. Come on, bud!
You're nothing without your dragon.
Attack! Show them what you got, bud. Save him. It's you and me, bud. Always.
What an awesome movie. Thank you, Kate, and to the DreamWorks team. I can't wait to see that movie with my kids. You know, the coolest part of the DreamWorks partnership for me has been that my kids finally think their dad is cool again. So I'm extraordinarily excited. This is a powerful story of a data-driven company whose imagination, brought to life through the genius of animators and artists and storytellers, coupled with technology, will continue to reshape family entertainment over the next several years. We are so honored and excited to be part of their journey and excited about what we're going to do together next. You'll hear more about the collaboration between our two companies from technical leaders on both sides tomorrow. Data-driven for human benefit. It's the same topic as my next speaker. How will your enterprise change the world with data? And what will that world look like 5, 10, and even 50 years down the road? For a fascinating perspective on technology and our data-driven future, we invited futurist, humanist, and author Gerd Leonhard to share his perspective. The Wall Street Journal has called Gerd one of the leading media futurists in the world, and he's listed by Wired magazine as one of the 100 most influential people in Europe. His work focuses on the future of humanity and technology, digital transformation, and the mega shifts taking place. Gerd is the co-author of the best-selling book, The Future of Music, and the CEO of the Futures Agency. Please give a warm welcome to Gerd Leonhard.
All right, thanks very much. What an amazing band. Thanks, guys. I used to do this job. Now I'm here. So, great pleasure to be with you today. Las Vegas was an amazing place. I just came in from Switzerland. I live in Switzerland. So I will talk to you about the future. And you know what I don't do as a futurist, I don't predict the future. I observe the future. And this is a skill I worked on for the last 10 years, and I'll share some foresights with you. And also in my new book, Technology Humanity, I have described the whole journey, what's going to happen in the next 5 to 7 years. So let's start here. First of all, I'm sure you're aware that we're going into a world where we're going inside of technology. And we're only at the beginning. Humanity will change more in the next 20 years than the previous 300 years. And that's not an overstatement. Kind of sounds like, you know, when you're thinking about the Industrial Revolution and the internet and, you know, telephone and all these things. But now technology is changing us. When we use this is our external brain. And for some of our kids, it's the only brain they have, right? But basically, this is, you know, when you have this, you're like a superhuman, almost. You're banking in here, your music, your dating, right? Pretty soon your healthcare records, everything in the cloud. It's fabulous, but then also you worry like, okay, what do I do if I don't have this? You know, if we don't have the mobile, we can still live. But think about this, if this becomes an augmented reality or a virtual reality device, right, then would I still be able to get out of bed without one? And what exactly would that mean? So man and machine, woman and machine are converging. And some people think it's a good idea if we also then become essentially technology. You know, we've heard the debates about singularity and the whole convergence of man and machine. I mean, who in this room does not want to be superhuman, right? I mean, that's kind of like we all think this is a good idea for us to gear up and become super powerful. Now in this evolution, we're going in this world from mobile devices to handheld devices to maybe wearables and very soon brain-computer interfaces. I mean, many people talk about this and how long will it take for that to work? It's already working, just too clumsy and too expensive. Well, Microsoft HoloLens is $6,000. It'll be $500 in 2 years, and then maybe $100, and maybe free eventually. And what could we do if we had this ability? To dive into data like like Minority Report, Tom Cruise, and go inside the data, fetch the data, and work 1,000 times as fast. That sounds very tempting, right? I mean, we're moving into a world where that is becoming potentially the new normal. As I like to jokingly say, science fiction is becoming science fact. If you're a scientist, I apologize. You probably have many like, okay, but I understand. But robots, right? Robots can do farming now. Robots can do eye operations. Robots can do 3D printing. Robots can allegedly talk, like this robot called Sophia. Robots can serve you the hamburger. And this is my favorite, the last one. There's even funerals for robots. In Japan, the owners of this pet robot called Aibo, they actually have funerals for their pet. I mean, it's admittedly probably a bit far out, right? But science fiction becoming science fact. We're moving into a world where these are the big game changers. I mean, you guys are working in this industry, so you know. Mind-boggling. Right? Data is the new oil. Cloud computing is what is generated from data. The Internet of Things, connecting everyone, everything. Basically, about 800 billion connected devices in 5 years. Quantum computing, reinventing how we compute. The blockchain. I'm not going to cover much of that, otherwise you'll fall asleep, because it's one of those heady topics. But of course, 3D printing. And here's the funny part. We've talked about these things, some of them for 50 years. Like artificial intelligence, didn't happen. We talked about 3D printing for 20 years now, not much happened. But now, you see takeoff, right? Escape velocity, as they say. I mean, it's funny, in the next 10 years, we're going to see things that are straight out of science fiction. 20 years, I mean, if you're my age, we will live to see what we call the singularity here, the convergence of man and machine. And how far do we want to go with this? How far do we want to go in this world where that is becoming feasible, like in the medical field? Now, a couple of weeks ago, of course, the Apple announcement of the Apple Watch was one of those steps where I said, okay, so now finally, the healthcare business, life science, is becoming a technology business. We're going to scan our bodies. We're going to put the data in the cloud, of course. We're hoping that it will be secure up there in the cloud. And of course, the AI will look it over and do remote diagnostics. Some people are saying that we could save about 85% of all doctors' visits by having diagnostics in the cloud. That would mean, for the first time ever in 50 years worldwide, a decline of healthcare cost. I mean, that would be quite an accomplishment. The convergence of man and machine in the cloud, the idea of data is the new oil, AI is the electricity, as Andrew Ng said from Baidu. And IoT is the nervous system. So you take three of those things together, data, oil, AI, electricity, IoT, the nervous system, you've got what McKinsey says a $62 trillion changing economy. Now, before you get too excited about the money, think about what that actually means. When we're inventing something huge, something that is fundamentally different. And as Demis from DeepMind says, if we define artificial intelligence as turning information and data into knowledge, then we're entering what's called the cognitive era, to where computers are no longer programmed, they're learning. This is an entirely different cup of tea. Right? I mean, think about this for a second. Aren't we supposed, us mere humans, aren't we supposed to have knowledge and turn the data into knowledge? Isn't that what we do? And now machines do it. They're not doing it all that well yet, but you can imagine, right? 5 to 7 years, quantum computing, million times the capacity, endless sensor networks. We can get a machine with an IQ of 100,000. In theory. And that machine will be vastly superior to us in terms of calculation. And I'll show you why that's not a reason to worry, really. But I mean, it does make you think. If we have computers that have unlimited knowledge, what's the change for us? And if they have knowledge, will that eventually turn into volition, like desires or consciousness? I mean, it's quite clear, if you feed IBM Watson all the books about philosophy, IBM Watson can read about 1.2 million pages or books, but in any way, it's a lot per minute. If you feed IBM Watson all the books about philosophy, does it make IBM Watson a philosopher? I mean, I should ask that question. I'm from Germany, right, where we think about philosophy in a different way. I mean, the answer is obvious. Obviously, no. I mean, the machine is not a philosopher just because it's read the books. Just like it would not know about love if it knows that you're in love from your facial expression. There's a huge difference. The machines that we have today, they can analyze your face and say, oh, Gerd is angry or tired or in love, right? But they do not know what a face is or what it feels like. They certainly don't know what love feels like. So basically what we have here is that we have to realize that data and information is not all we need to gain knowledge. Knowledge is a little bit different. And knowledge is not the same as understanding in a human sense. I'll give you an example. When you come home from work and you meet your kids for dinner, if that still happens, your kids will tell you about what happened in the day, what kind of grades they got, and so on and so on. But then you see your 12-year-old son, and he's smiling like an imbecile, and you're like, okay, you realize for the first time in his life, he's fallen in love. Okay? That's called understanding. And how would you know that? He hasn't put up a poster or a tweet saying that he was in love. You just know. And then one step beyond understanding is wisdom. I mean, a good CEO, company leader, has knowledge and data and information. Right? But what he really has is understanding and wisdom. And will machines ever have that? Maybe they will in 50 years or 100 years. I kind of dread the moment there, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think basically human happiness is not an app. It's not a download. It's not a set of data. You may disagree with me and say, all the things that humans do are algorithms. Yeah? Organisms are algorithms. I think you may have heard that before. That's a long debate that we can't finish this morning, otherwise we'll be here in the evening. But I think basically it's not going to work for us to have machines that simulate happiness, whatever happiness is, contentment. That's really quite different than data. Look at those companies that are currently the world leaders in data. The richest companies, the most successful companies, are companies in the top aspect of this, right? They're companies that are basically running the world, have tripled in valuation. The top 4 companies on this list have the GDP of France. More money than the GDP of France. Anybody from France here? They could buy France, right? I think they would think twice about that, but in any case, they are really powerful companies. I mean, they're more powerful than oil and gas and nuclear and banking combined, and they're exploding. This is where the money is. That's why you're here, right? I mean, data, AI, IoT, information, that's where everything is going. And so this is what these companies are doing, and many of them are clients, so I'm quite familiar with the ideas. They're going inside of our heads, finding information, and then creating essentially sort of a global brain. In fact, Google has a project called the Global Brain. And I would submit to you that's probably 90% positive if we use it correctly. Well, that's a big if, right? Because here's the thing. This thing is growing exponentially so huge. We're talking about a temptation of trillions. I mean, if you were looking at this as a model, you would say that's basically an endless gold mine, a constant situation that you can milk. So we're moving into a future where this is basically happening in data networks, right? We're creating sort of a meta-intelligence, a new way of looking what's happening. We're creating what I call in my book the mega shifts, not just digitization, augmentation, cognification. You know, Kevin Kelly, the founder of Wired magazine, once said, first we electrify, then we datafy, and now we cognify. That's what we're doing. When we cognify, we're going to change the world, because machines are no longer stupid. I mean, you're just at the cusp of this moment where data is no longer a single thing, machines are no longer stupid, and we can create a whole different environment from this. This could be heaven, or it could be hell. Clearly. Yeah, let's say we can generate $60 trillion worth more of revenues. That's nice, right? But there are a few side effects. And there's a question of governance. And many issues around this, I'm 90% positive we could live in a world like this where we have what I call the sofalarity. That's basically a situation where everything is coming to us because tech is doing everything. There's a great movie called Wall-E that describes this very powerfully a couple of years ago. Or we could end up here. A world where we are limitlessly, yeah, I mean, wouldn't you love to live in this world where you can touch the gods, so to speak? Or you can live in a world where you can cheat death because technology is affording it. I mean, there's like 50 startups in Silicon Valley dealing with what I call the end of dying. That must be a trivial undertaking, but it's an interesting aspect. Or on the reverse, it could be like this. It could be a world where technology prescribes and creates a frame for everything that we're doing. Who we're dating, what we're listening to, who we're voting for, a world to where we can say that's kind of like a crack, right? It's the addiction. Right? And I should be talking, right? I'm a heavy user. So please feel free to treat me. But I did leave Facebook. I'll talk about that later. But basically, we could live up in a world like this where we are sort of attached to technology in some way. Now, this is a question not of if or yes or no, but a question of proportions. I mean, we don't make alcohol illegal because you may abuse alcohol and drink a bottle of whiskey for breakfast, right? In fact, we're going the other way around here with marijuana legalization and stuff, right? So we're actually making it legal, but it's a question of how we're using it and how much. It's not a question of yes or no, it's a question of balance. Because as William Gibson says, a science fiction author, fabulous writer, technology is morally neutral until we use it. And we use it everywhere now. It's funny, 10 years ago, we were using technology in many places, but not everywhere. And now we're using it everywhere, and in 10 years, technology is the default operating system of anything. Anything. Everything is converging with technology. In China, talk about morally neutral, they're using technology to monitor every single person crossing the street. And if you're a Chinese citizen, you're on the Open Sesame credit system, you get an email saying that you jaywalked, right, from face recognition. I mean, is that an accomplishment? I'm not so sure, but it strikes us a little bit strange living in the US or in Europe. But anyway, what's happening here is that we're moving towards a hell-then situation. A hell or a heaven. And it's up to us to decide. Technology will not have any interest in being heaven or hell. It's just technology, it's just code. It has no interest in taking over, apart from Ex Machina or Transcendence or Black Mirror. It's basically it can be both. We have to think about this. If Google understands our language, fantastic. I mean, if we are looking at switching to clean energy, which we are in the next 20 years, driven by technology, fantastic. If AI makes more money, fantastic. That's all good. On the other side, the return of the rich. Inequality is rising. It may not be a very popular subject here, but look at the middle of this graph. You can safely see that since the internet came in, inequality has increased. I'm not suggesting that there's any connection there, but it's an interesting factoid. And then we have, of course, all the worries about automation and unemployment, demographics. So that's kind of the not so good part. Right? So what it comes down to is this. We have to find a way to use technology and the power of technology in a good way, in a human way. I call that digital ethics. And if you follow the debate in the last year or so, it's exploding. Because guess what? In 10 years, technology will be unlimitedly powerful, infinite. Anything. I mean, 5G, 6G, 100G networks, basically. 9 billion people on the internet in 2030. 9 billion. I mean, we have, as the song goes, we ain't seen nothing yet. We're just at the beginning of this whole debate. And we have to think about this. Do we want to collaborate with technology, or are we going to end at a place where there are conflicts? And who decides? With great power comes great responsibility. Gartner just announced a couple days ago in the research organization Gartner that digital ethics is the #1 topic for 2019. You'd be surprised, because when you're in the tech business, you're saying, okay, as Bertolt Brecht once said, dinner first, then morals. Right? I mean, it's very hard to sell ethics. Right? It's not a product. It's even harder to sell humanity. But now companies like Microsoft and many other companies are saying it's very important for us to do the right thing with technology. Because in theory, very soon, we can do anything. Right now, it's still a practical limitation. Well, going back to China, you have the mobile credit system called Open Sesame, where everybody is rated, everybody has a number. So the result is that anybody can get an instant credit up to $100 on an app called Yongqingbao, which is because everybody has a public profile. So digital ethics is the difference between whatever technological progress will enable us to do, and putting human happiness and social flourishing first at all times. Because guess what? If we don't have human happiness and social flourishing, your business isn't going to do well. I mean, there's a purpose to business, right? It's not just the generation of revenues. Really, this is what we want in our lives. In psychology, Seligman calls this PERMA: positivity, engagement, relationships, meaning, accomplishment. That's what we're looking for. Can technology help us with this? That's the whole point. It's very important to think about where this is going, because now we're going to a point where we're clearly seeing this every single day. Right? Technology and data has no ethics. And I'm saying this completely neutrally. This is a fact. I mean, technology doesn't care about feelings or emotions or mysteries or, because it's not a code. It's not 0 and 1. I mean, we are conscious beings here. We care about relationships and engagement and people and emotions, all the stuff that machines hate. Right? Machines don't like these things because it's not binary. It's not just 0 and 1. So I think we're going to need this sooner or later. And I've proposed this in Europe to the European Commission and pretty much everywhere I go. We need to have an ethics council, not just a council that says how we're going to use tech, like a digital transformation council, which we have in Switzerland, for example, but an organization that thinks about how good this technology will do and why it should do something. So basically, in this world, here's a key question. And given that we're talking about, you're not far from Silicon Valley, who will be mission control for humanity? Who decides? Right now, this is a minor issue, or is somewhat of an issue, right? Because most of it is not really working that well yet. We don't have perfect AI. We don't have the perfect IoT. We don't have 6G networks. We don't have quantum computers yet. But they're right over there. So this is a key question. How do we control and how do we figure out what's good? And the best example is Facebook. Gunning at democracy. Now, you think Facebook and Mark is doing this by purpose? Nope. Were they hacked? No. Are they criminals? No. But what happened is unethical. Right? And this is Facebook's biggest problem. In fact, what happened was exactly how Facebook is designed is how it worked. You put up the money, you run your ads. That's what scares me the most. Right? So I left Facebook 4 months ago as a result, but I think we should think about this. What does Facebook mean for democracy when we're living like this? And I think this is Mark's biggest problem, obviously. Talking about ethics, right? The biggest problem of Facebook is not lack of money. They have unlimited money. I mean, it's a cash cow. I mean, we all use it every single day, right? Well, I don't, but you guys do. Right? So what does that mean? How would you decide what to do? I think we're going to go into this world. We're going to go into a world of data mining. That's the world we have today. And that world is working like an amazing mousetrap, right? I mean, if you're in the advertising business, you're building a mousetrap, you do this. I think we're going to go into this world, the world of data mining with a Y. This may be because I was born in Germany, I live in Europe. We have a slightly different objective. But I think if you put your name under this and you say, you know what, we're going to use the data, we're going to build a better world with this, we're going to use AI, but you have control. Is it more painful? Yes. I mean, a world without privacy would be less painful for the ones that don't need it. But in the end, I think this is a human right. So data mining is what I propose as the new way forward, because now we're going to a world where it's no longer going to be about if we can do something or how, but the question will be why and who. NetApp, if your customers trust you, it will not be just for technical reasons. It'll be a reason for purpose and brand, understanding, people, human purpose, all of those things together. That's the key factor. All right, let's take a breath. We're thinking. Play some thinking music. See, I lived in California too long, so I'm playing some spa music, but just kidding. That's enough thinking. Let's move on. Here's a key question. How much do you believe in technology? And I mean, we're here in a technology event. We all believe in technology. How much do you believe technology should go in the future? Where exactly will it take us? Are we going to go in a world where AI has more power than us? The post-human world? That somewhat doesn't strike me as a good idea. And I think this is where we disconnect between the thinking of the technology-driven business and the future of humanity. I think if we wanted to be superhuman, we would be a machine. You want to be a machine? Fine with me, but I'm not going to compete with you for jobs. Right? Humans are, in my view, not just fancy data. And if we are, I think it will take at least 100 years to figure out. So we should think about what makes us human and how do we actually get there, because humans have this, and we have what's called in my book androrhythms, not algorithms. I made this up, but bear with me. Human intelligence is not just counting numbers. I mean, some of us even have what's called emotional intelligence. Allegedly, mostly women have that, so leads some people to say that women are the future, right? So I can't contribute to that in this case, right? But human intelligence is 8 or 10, 12 different things. Emotional, social, intellectual, kinesthetic, the body, musical. We are intelligent like this. And how intelligent are machines? They're very intelligent in one place, right? Like this. Data, information, logic. Why would a machine respect mystery? It's just a pain, right? It's like putting sand in the gearbox. So, I mean, think about this for a second when you think about algorithms and, this is what machines do, right? They pipe information. And then they use the information to make a copy of us, which I think is fine up to a certain point. But beyond that, I want to make sure that the algorithms are not going to take over my life. Right? So, Jeff Bezos, one of the smartest guys in the world, this is what he kept saying for the last 200 years, or whatever has been around. It seems like it's been around forever. He says, when it comes to important decisions, data trumps information every time. Now, that is called believing in technology. Right? And I can subscribe to that as well. And then he says, all of my best decisions in business and life I've made with heart, intuition, guts, not analysis. Last week. Now, which one is it? Right? Well, you be the first to answer. It's both. Right? Of course we use data. We want better data. We want to be faster. We want to have better computing. We want to be superhuman in that regard. But in the end, I'm going to decide if we're going to have kids, not the computer. Okay? And I'm going to decide on the things that are important. I don't have to decide necessarily which road to take if Google can help me with this. Right? But I don't want to decide, for example, on the fate of probation or human resource or hiring and firing using an AI. And people do, right? That's because we kind of have this propensity towards data being more intelligent. Here's the key challenge for us. Technology is exponential, but we are not. We are just the inefficient, slow, sleep-deprived humans. And that's a good thing, because there's so many things about us that technology has no clue about. In fact, 95% of our life is run by things that don't have anything to do with data. So we should keep that in mind. I think it's very important for us to think, we are not going to become useless humans because data is exponential. We could become useless humans if your job is 100% routine, like bookkeeping on the lowest level, or checkout in the supermarket. Yeah, you should be worried. But our work is to go above the routine, above the sort of computing part, right? Because clearly, you've seen the reports on this. Machines will learn every single routine there is in the next 10 years. Driving a car, flying an airplane, right? Doing a hamburger job, McDonald's is automating already, fixing your car, all of those things. 65% of some jobs. Right? But here's the good news. The end of routine is not the end of our work. It's just the end of routine. If you can outsource routine to smart machines, as long as not human, right, you can do other things. If a doctor can make the rounds in the hospital and IBM Watson is right next to the doctor, and it gives the doctor 150,000 pictures of the same melanoma, and the doctor can say, you know what, this is what I think. That's amazing. The doctor may feel like there's some, other component to his work now, obviously. But the end of the routine is not the end of work unless your job is 100% routine. So here's my advice if you have kids. Do not let your kids learn anything that involves routine. Anything. That includes, by the way, low-level programming. Because machines will program themselves. They already are. Wired magazine ran a couple of years ago, The End of Code. Remember that story? Yeah, it's probably not going to be the end of code, but simple jobs. Data scientists, yes, but programming, we're going to move to a world of entirely new skills. As the World Economic Forum points out, these are the skills more on the right side of the brain. Critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, cognitive flexibility. So in addition to the technical skills, we're going to need those skills. And if you're sending your kids to school, make sure they get both. The STEM and what I call HECI, humanity, ethics, creativity, imagination. Einstein once said in the 50s that imagination is more important than knowledge. This being easy to say for Einstein because, he was a genius. But we do have to think about imagination as the primary driver. We're going to go in our world from this, right, the left brain, the logic, to the other side. That is a huge opportunity for us to talk about what we're going to be doing in the future. That's not a threat, it's an opportunity. That will lead us to a place where we can safely say, I'm coming to the end of my talk in a summary here, there's two things that will matter. On the one hand, it will be data, information, technology, being on top of this, and on the other hand, human things, purpose, passion, curiosity. The future is driven by data and defined by humanity. It's not either or. I think it's very important for us to think in that direction. I finish with a quote from my book. For us, I think the future means that we're going to be embracing technology, but we shouldn't become it. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you, Gerd. Thank you for your words of insight and for your thoughtful discussion on the future of technology and humanity.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gerd reminds us of the important responsibility that we as humans have in shaping the world that is to come, a world that's defined by humanity and driven by data. He reminds us of the beauty of simple things, the smile of your wife when she says that she is going to marry you. I will never forget that. And about context and story in the work that we do. I will just tell you from having led transformation for the last several years, having wisdom and insight, story and context and meaning is as essential to progressing your transformation agenda as it is having data and technology. And we will share more with you in our discussions with you beyond Insight about all of the human aspects of leading change. Data visionaries, you in this room, are the stewards of this important asset called data and have the responsibility to make that data serve humanity for good. There are so many compelling ways that we have been fortunate to work with you and with our customers to make the reality that Gerd talked about, driven by data, but defined by humanity, come to life through the work that we do together. And so let me tell you a little bit more about how you can do that. Let me start by recapping the 4 principles of data-driven digital transformation. These are cornerstone principles that we believe are essential to making progress in your digital business agenda. And they are interlinked, as I discussed. And they can be accomplished using business-driven pilot projects that get you going now rather than waiting for the future. So let me tell you about each of them in a little bit more detail. Let's start with overall IT transformation. As I said, digital transformation requires IT transformation, not just business as usual. The leaders that we see accomplishing these IT transformations are taking it on in a comprehensive approach, but starting by piloting those approaches in digital business projects. They are simplifying and delayering the IT organization, better integrating business applications and IT teams into agile squads, prioritizing transformational quick wins. For speed and efficiency, they are leaning out their IT portfolio and delivering more services with far fewer standardized environments, leveraging a well-integrated hybrid multi-cloud architecture. And while they're doing that, they are also keeping their data strategy front and center. The principles of cloud are key to accomplishing this transformation. Not just the use of the public cloud, but using the principles, the design principles and the operating principles of the cloud for your own data center. Extreme standardization, increasingly using cloud-native technologies like container-based applications and infrastructure as code. And by doing so, we are seeing extraordinary outcomes. We are helping customers reduce IT overhead by 30 to 40%, increasing substantially the percentage of innovation in their IT departments versus spending money on sustaining IT, helping scale IT processes much more efficiently, and increasing the speed and agility of delivering new services. So you might ask, how do I start? There are 3 ways that people are taking on IT transformation while doing these business projects and initiatives to jumpstart digital transformation. They're doing it in 3 ways. By leveraging the innovation of the biggest cloud providers in the world, by building enterprise hybrid clouds, and by modernizing legacy infrastructure. Let me tell you about how NetApp is helping our customers in each of these areas to get going on digital transformation, while simultaneously helping you architect your data fabric. In the public cloud, we complement the public clouds with protocols, data services, and applications unavailable on the cloud. We bring extreme performance and data management expertise and radically simplify connecting applications, infrastructure, storage, and compute with data so companies can innovate. We support cloud, multi-cloud, and hybrid cloud computing for your on-premises data center through the NetApp Data Fabric and provide analytics and key insights to firms. We have hundreds of customers operating in hybrid multi-cloud fashion today. Our technology is real, the business benefits are real, and you can get going with us today. In addition to leveraging the public cloud, customers are also choosing to bring the design principles of the cloud to their own data center, building enterprise hybrid clouds for speed and increasing innovation flexibility. NetApp technology was developed for the cloud service providers from the start and is tightly integrated with your data fabric so that you can seamlessly integrate public and private clouds using a catalog of consistent services. We simplify your data center with predictable, standardized infrastructure. Automate your operations with the best cloud services catalog and programmable infrastructure as code to deliver business outcomes faster. NetApp HCI has been adopted by hundreds of customers with thousands of nodes deployed in the most demanding enterprise and service provider environments. Talk to us about your enterprise hybrid cloud. We can help you. And finally, modernizing legacy storage. Many of our competitors have sold you purpose-built, siloed architectures that have fragmented your data and made your data centers insanely complex to manage. NetApp helps you standardize, consolidate, and make your infrastructure much more predictable with cloud-connected flash, replacing all of these legacy purpose-built architecture with a standard platform to simplify and increase the efficiency of your data center. It enables you to invest in new innovation. And to support that innovation, we help you build your data pipeline, connecting edge to core to cloud. And now that you've integrated your enterprise, you can leverage your data in place for Hadoop-style batch analytics, increasingly Spark-powered real-time analytics, machine learning, and other ways to take your business forward. We talked about the fact that speed and efficiency requires the creation of a hybrid multi-cloud architecture. And every customer I'm looking to is trying to figure out how to use the cloud, but integrate it with their enterprise architecture. Companies are looking to migrate on-premise workloads to the cloud, develop applications in the cloud, and consume new cloud services. Not everything, however, is moving to the cloud. And that's why we believe that hybrid cloud is the dominant architecture. Fragmenting your data while you deploy a hybrid cloud architecture is fatal to your digital transformation objectives. It simply moves your business backward rather than forward. So you need to build your data fabric, the right architecture to help accelerate your digital transformation. The data fabric is NetApp's strategy for simplifying and integrating the orchestration of data services across a choice of hybrid multi-cloud environments. And it helps you build a catalog of consistent data services that provide data visibility and insights, data access and control, and data protection and security. What do you need to do that? You need the best multi-protocol scale-out data services that can integrate memory, flash, disk, and cloud. We give you that. You need that world-class software now to be available as cloud data services on the world's biggest clouds, standalone software for the smallest edge, and a variety of systems for your data center, standalone systems, converged systems, or hyper-converged systems, all accessible through programmable APIs. You need data movers and data protection that's consistent, and we give you that. And you need connectors into all the major application frameworks. We give you that. And we give you the ability to enable partners, like the biggest cloud providers, to add their capabilities to your data fabric. The data fabric accelerates data-driven digital transformation by simplifying and integrating all of your data so that you can use it as a foundation for your digital business. And it helps you achieve all of the goals that we talked about of data-driven digital transformation. We'll show you more about the business benefits through a customer example. And for the IT benefits and proof that this is real, we're going to show you through an awesome demo. We introduced the data fabric at Insight 4 years ago for the data-driven hybrid multi-cloud world. In a minute, I'll bring up Anthony Lai, who leads our Cloud Data Services business unit, to demonstrate the power of the data fabric. Anthony leads the data fabric strategy for all of NetApp. And he's going to show you just how far we've come with the data fabric. You want a really easy way to discover, migrate, and monitor your data in this multi-cloud world. You want to connect new innovative services to your data, or bring your data to the next killer machine learning application. And you want to do all of this from a single pane of glass. We worked hard to execute against the data fabric, enabling our core technology on the biggest clouds, layering on an awesome range of data services. The biggest public clouds saw the vision and the compelling advantage that we provide our customers and chose to partner with NetApp. These partnerships mean we can help you integrate best across cloud, on cloud, and on premises. And this year, we're taking the data fabric to the next level, simplifying multi-cloud hybrid cloud by connecting the world's biggest clouds with the best enterprise private cloud built on NetApp HCI. Applications, infrastructure, and data, all with just a few simple clicks. And to do so, we've added awesome orchestration and monitoring capabilities. And to show you that, let me bring up Anthony Lai. Please put your hands together with a warm welcome.
Hello. It's really wonderful to be here. Thank you all very much. I joined NetApp about 20 months ago, really because what I saw in the company was such impressive technology and such a willingness to lean in to public cloud technology and private cloud technology. And I was asked to consider the data fabric from my perspective, from an application developer's perspective. What would the application developers want to do? And we at NetApp and all of our customers are, of course, the custodians of our data, the most important asset that we all have. And so as George said, how can we bring that data to life? I'd like to show you. So to access a fabric, we would, of course, ensure that that fabric was available to you as a service, not something that you would have to install, not something that you would have to maintain, not something that you would have to configure. Just something that exists. A series of technologies available to you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, optimized by your workloads, accessible as a set of callable services. Services that you can use independently of one another or increasingly as part of an orchestration. So consider a fabric. Consider a set of endpoints available to you. Well, the first thing, of course, I want to be able to do is make sure that I can discover all of my endpoints. And with ActiveIQ, we make that possible. Each of the endpoints can then join or leave the data fabric, and new endpoints can be added on demand. But the fabric starts to think. It starts to assess the impact of all of the learnings that we've gathered from all of the customers that we've ever had. And so what this shows is the fabric is suggesting that there is an opportunity for you to take advantage of a tiering service, a service that's run in the cloud by NetApp, a service that would allow me to select various volumes or snapshots and intelligently tier that data, the colder data, the older data, directly into a public cloud or a private cloud of my choosing. And all from a single pane of glass, I can select from the world's biggest public clouds, or I can even ask NetApp itself to manage that cold data for me with my encryption key guaranteeing me confidentiality on the bucket. I can assess the impact of that tiering service, and I can activate it, all from a single pane of glass. So cloud-connected flash is a very, very integral part of a fabric. It enables you to do things that free up your high-performing on-premise environments and take advantage of hybrid multi-cloud environments. Now, last year on this stage, we introduced something called Cloud Volumes. We introduced them with Microsoft, we've since introduced them with Google, and now they're available in the Amazon Marketplace. And again, from a single pane of glass, I should be able to go and activate a volume across any of the public clouds. So I can just give a volume a name, and I can purchase a service. I don't have to worry about, is the service running? Is the service performing? I can scale up or scale down my capacity at will. I can deploy volumes on all of the 3 biggest public clouds through a small set of mouse clicks or through an API. I can put protection policies on my volumes. I can pick protocols. I can now back up my volumes. So I can use snapshots for short-term archival and a new cloud backup service for longer archival. So in a few short clicks, I'm now enabling my business to operate in a hybrid multi-cloud world. So what do you want to do with all of that high-performing storage? Well, of course, you want to make sure that that storage finds its way to compute. And we've combined the green cloud technologies with the stack point technologies to offer, on a single pane of glass, a control plane to deploy Kubernetes, to deploy Istio, to deploy infrastructure for stateful application development using Trident, our open source protocol. So now, the application developers can take advantage of these assets. The data that previously existed in silos is now fully available to everybody on a single pane of glass for a single fabric. And again, through an API or through a few short clicks, I can deploy clusters into all of my production environments. The data fabric will manage those clusters for me. It will monitor those clusters for me. It will upgrade those clusters for me. I also now have the ability to catalog my applications and to allow my users to deploy applications into those clusters running on my high-performance storage. I can deploy my applications to any endpoint that's within the control of the data fabric. So, if you've been watching, it was a little teaser. One of the assets that we discovered was NetApp's hyper-converged infrastructure running here in Las Vegas. What if you could essentially drive public cloud standardization into your private cloud? Well, with the data fabric, we believe that that's possible. We can install a trusted configuration onto your private cloud and now open up your private cloud infrastructure to all of the capabilities that you saw on public cloud infrastructure. You can create volumes directly on your hyper-converged infrastructure. You can deploy clusters directly on your hybrid cloud, your private cloud infrastructure. You can deploy applications directly to your private cloud infrastructure, all from a single pane of glass. I can essentially create my own application catalog and have the confidence through the data fabric that I can bring the application logic directly to the data, wherever the data may be, to make your private cloud operate as efficiently and effectively as your public cloud. That's the power of the data fabric, to unite your on-premise assets, your public cloud assets, and your private cloud assets. So one of the other things that we're announcing here at Insight is a brand new performance monitoring, analytics platform, and chargeback solution for the hybrid multi-cloud environment, and we call it Cloud Insights. Cloud Insights is delivered and deployed as a service in the public cloud. There's no software to install. We give you access to all of your assets on-premise, whether they're NetApp or non-NetApp. We give you access to monitor your assets in all of the public clouds. And in this example, we're giving you real-time monitoring analysis on your private cloud infrastructure. A platform that's available as a service on demand. A platform that you only pay for what you consume. A platform that scales up or scales down. A platform for a small business or the largest enterprise on the planet. So what I hope we've shown you today is a brief glimpse at what my team and the rest of NetApp has been building to really guarantee that you can enable your organizations to digitally transform. Thank you all very much. Thanks, George.
Thank you, Anthony. What an awesome demo. We talked about the fact that we would connect applications, infrastructure, and data with just a few clicks. We did that. We gave you a way to connect the world's leading flash solutions with the world's best HCI and the world's biggest public clouds. How about that? So I have a question for Anthony. It's exciting to see how far the data fabric has come in the last 4 years. What's available among what you showed today, and when's the rest coming?
Well, so we've been delivering services continuously today, and we have hundreds of customers who use those services. A significant portion of what I showed is generally available. A number of those services, we've made announcements at this conference that they're generally available, and we're previewing the other services. This is a project that we expect to deliver continuously and really deliver on the data fabric vision sometime in the middle of next year.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, Anthony talked about the fact that our technology is ready. It's generally available or close enough that it'll be generally available by the end of our fiscal year. So get going with us today. We talked about the on-ramps to the data fabric and the way to start your data-driven journey. Our next speaker is a very special customer who knows what it takes to be data-driven and is digitizing biology and fostering precision medicine. They are building a global platform for genomic data, the data about you. And over the past few years, they've amassed the world's largest database of human genome sequences. These are enormous data sets and with enormous data growth forecast. And they need to leverage the cloud and to be multi-cloud to meet their business growth requirements. Let's roll the video.
At WuXi NextCODE, we like to call ourselves the Internet of DNA. We are based in China, Reykjavik, and Cambridge, Massachusetts, and we have the biggest genomic data sets in the world. If I would compare my DNA with your DNA, we would see 5 million differences. The challenge is to take a data set of 5 million to figure out what are the differences or the mutations that are important. Being able to gather these big data sets and mine them efficiently is very important for data-driven personalized medicine, helping you to understand diseases better, to develop new drugs. We believe we're giving our customers the ultimate experience.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here at this wonderful conference and being able to tell you about our company and the field of genomics that we are working in. Only about 15 years ago, the first human genome was sequenced and assembled. It was a massive international effort that took over 10 years to complete. With modern sequencers today, you can do this sequencing of a single human genome in a matter of hours. But what does that mean? Well, it means we can read the code of instructions that are stored in the nucleus of every cell in the human body. And we can sift through the sequence of 3 billion letters of A, C, Gs, and Ts and try to decipher what that means. Understand the millions of differences that are in this sequence from one person to another. So this provides lots of opportunities. But this also brings challenges. The sequence data from a single individual, sequenced with the redundancy that is needed and the quality metrics that are stored usually today, in a compressed format, this is about 100 gigabytes of data. And with the availability of these high-throughput sequencers and the sort of super exponential growth rate in their throughput in the past years, and the cost is constantly coming down below $1,000, then these data sets of genomic data are expected to become the biggest data sets in the world. But there is another challenge, and that is actually mining this data and understanding what the data really means. So for doing that, we need to understand the differences in the genome and combine these differences and correlate them with clinical and phenotypic data. And this is exactly what we at WuXi NextCODE are doing. We are providing end-to-end solutions and services, ranging from assembling cohorts together to providing clinical interpretation for hospitals, doing sequencing of samples, providing data management solutions, analytics, and AI. As an example, a pharma company would like to be able to use genomic data to discover new genes that can lead them to important pathways for developing new drugs, or to look at existing potential drug targets, characterize them, being able to fail fast, because as you may know, clinical trials are extremely expensive, especially the later stages where it involves lots of patients. Also to characterize existing drugs, understand their efficacy, side effects, being to do so-called drug rescue. But the field of sequencing data provides equally opportunities in the clinical space, where we can start measuring high-impact mutations in individuals, kids, or use genomic data to characterize cancer tissue to optimize drug treatments. In the past, sequencing was very slow, and for instance, a pediatrician with a sick kid would have to guess almost what gene was involved in the disease. And it would be very easy for him to sift through the mutations that he would get back from the clinical laboratory of that sequence data. Today, this process needs to be much more data-driven. So you have millions of variants in each given individual, so you need more automation. Now the important task for a physician is to provide as comprehensive clinical data as possible. That can, for instance, be aided by using AI image recognition to capture so-called facial gestalt, for instance, in kids with rare diseases. But the key thing is also to gather other data, have reference data, gather variation data from relatives and other individuals sharing similar signs and symptoms, and use automation to come up with just a handful of candidate mutations and deliver them back to the physician. Only using this kind of data-driven approach can we automate this process and increase the so-called diagnostic yields to improve performance of these tests. We at WuXi, we provide comprehensive set of solutions, both for research and for clinical analytics, APIs and SDKs. And these solutions allow the customer to tap into knowledge bases that we put together, as well as their own client data. And they can access this data through our proprietary Gerd database system. And the Gerd database is a highly scalable system, and you can spin up lots of IO-thirsty, what we call Gerd workers. So we need a very powerful file system under the hood. And this is where we rely on NetApp today. The Gerd database is the only purpose-built relational database for genomics. It's optimized around sort of the ordered principle of the data. utilize that to minimize random access, optimize for streaming, and minimize the memory footprint. As an example, joining tables, doing join on the genomic position, which is a very important use case in genomic analysis, is 10 times more efficient in our architecture than in conventional business intelligence systems such as Spark. A benchmark query that we had been working on in our system as we deployed it in the cloud was an analysis that is very important in this space, basically to take variation data from around 100,000 individuals, whole genome variation data set, essentially 200 million different mutations, and try to understand what is the frequency of these mutations in a population. So you can think about this as a two-dimensional matrix, 200 million times 100,000, essentially 20 trillion data points. We were running this in the cloud using a self-managed storage, meaning we had like 3 NFS servers, each of them configured with multiple EBS block storage volumes. And we had been running this for several times and never really completed this analysis because of stale file handles, timeouts. Then we took this data set of something like 50 terabytes and we onboarded this into NetApp cloud volumes. The good news was that the onboarding process was seamless. It took less than a weekend to do this. And the first time we ran this query on the NetApp file system, it completed actually in less than 45 minutes. And so this was a query that actually involved 2,000 cores. So this was a very IO-intensive analysis. So this was a big sort of success for us. And we are, the performance is one thing, is very important. We have tested multiple other scenarios that are of less sort of significantly smaller scale. But it's not just the performance that is of importance here, it's also the reduced complexity in the management of the system, much higher reliability as well. And we can do this type of a deployment in any of the clouds where our customers want us to be. And scaling the file system is much, much easier today. Getting an extra on-tap storage volume into the cloud is as easy as getting water from the tap. So basically, to conclude, we are a company that is enabling other life science companies to use the genomics to improve health of people. And we are very happy to be partnering with NetApp to help us on that journey. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Hákon. Please put your hands together in an Icelandic thunderclap for Hákon Guðbjartsson. Thank you so much. Thank you, Hákon. The ability to interpret human genetic information holds the promise of doing everything from tailoring medication to the needs of an individual patient to helping you identify your own predisposition to disease. WuXi NextCODE has achieved fantastic results together with NetApp, scaling from 40,000 to 1 million sequences being processed in parallel and being able to complete queries that previously could not be completed. We are proud of helping WuXi build a multi-cloud data fabric to accelerate their digital business. I want to thank you for the work that we've done together over the last year. I'm so excited about the momentum we see in our business because you are choosing us to help you progress your digital transformation. And for that, I'm extraordinarily grateful. You've helped us become #1 in all flash arrays across the world. The #1 branded storage operating system around the world. #1 in storage and device management software. The #1 fastest growing integrated infrastructure and certified reference system. #1 in so many important markets, including the US public sector, Germany, and Japan. A leader in object storage, and the only cloud data services company that has been chosen by all of the world's biggest cloud providers. Data-driven organizations build data fabrics. DreamWorks imagination gives us wings to take us places that we've never been. Imagination has no boundaries. It starts anywhere and can go anywhere. And DreamWorks data, which is their digitized imagination, must be freed from the prisons of firewalls and data centers and powered by a data fabric to take their business and to take us anywhere we want to go. You heard from WuXi NextCODE, using the full power of the human genome to make humanity better. Data-driven, designed by humanity, already taking advantage of NetApp's data fabric to make a major difference. Data-driven organizations build data fabrics. And data-driven organizations are changing the world with data. The companies that will lead tomorrow are the companies who are getting started today. The people who would lead this transformation are you here in the room. And all of you have a role to play. Whether it's executives who are leading digital transformation strategy and enabling data-driven cultures, whether it's architects who are designing data fabrics, or IT teams who are building and deploying data fabrics, or developers who are using data fabrics to connect data to the next killer app. We have awesome solutions, developer tools, hands-on learning forums, together with our partners at Insight Central and the Spotlight sessions tomorrow. I'll close by telling you that each of you has a chance to make a difference. Not all data-driven journeys start with extraordinary redefinitions of business plans and strategies. So many of them start with just a little step taken by a leader who has the imagination to dream of the possible, just like an unexpected scene in a magical DreamWorks movie. So I want to encourage you to start with us to reshape your agendas and to reshape our world for better. I wish you the best of insights. I'm excited and honored to have you. Have an awesome week. God bless you. Thank you.